This tournament started out with 32 teams featuring some of the finest players on the planet. 30 matches played and just 2 teams left standing in the Betway World Cup of Pool. Portsmouth, home to HMS Victory, has proved the perfect venue for this tournament. Can this final game provide one last twist as the host nation prepares to take on last year's runners-up? It's England against Holland in the final of the World Cup of Pool. The route to the final showed mixed fortunes for both of these sides.
England's dreams were so nearly dashed in the first round, but David Al-Qaedi blundered and Spain missed the boat. By comparison, Holland launched their title challenge with a relatively routine 7-3 win over Sweden. In the second round, Appleton and Boyes flexed their muscles, hammering Greece 7-1 to advance with ease. Feijen and Berg trailed Switzerland 4-3, but as the pressure mounted, the Dutch rattled through the last 4 racks. On to the quarterfinals, and in a rare transatlantic tussle that lived up to pre-match expectations, England edged the USA 9-7. Holland progressed by the same score, fighting back from 7-5 down to overcome Germany 9-7. The Finns made a flying start in the semi-finals, but gradually succumbed as England got the nod. That was a battle, but Holland's 9-1 thrashing of Team Austria was a blowout and a confidence builder. Through to the final in a canter.
Just one match away from the ultimate prize in Team 9 ball. The Dutch field 2 of the highest ranked players in the world. Niels Feijen tops the list with Nick Berg not far behind. England can boast 2 former world champions. Darren Appleton and Karl Boyes are the men charged with winning England's first ever title in this event.
It was a great match. Darren lost the lag and we were sat watching up until 2-0 and looked like going 3-0. Luckily for us, Mika missed the 2 ball. And, you know, from then on we played really well, you know.
We were like 6-1, I think, and I told Nick, like, to slam the door. Just keep pounding, you know, don't give them any air, because the level of play here is so high. They can run 4 on us, and then you're 6-5, and you're like thinking, oh, great, all for nothing. So if you have the momentum at this level, you got to keep it.
We can break better, you know, more consistent break, and if we can find that, you know, we're running out okay, and we're not missing a lot of balls, so you know, we're playing good.
Well, we've got the experience that we played the final last year, but there's no hard feelings of losing it, and now we have to win it or something. I mean, we're playing good. They got to play real good to beat us. Obviously, it's going to be very tough to both break good as well. But in my mind, it's a 50-50 match, and whoever plays good on the day and handles the pressure. And I haven't got any worries about us handling the pressure.
The crowd will be full because there's an English team in the final, and that's what we love. We love to play for the audience, and yeah, I think it's the best thing that can happen to this tournament, that we play England.
Your final commentators are Jim White and Phil Yates.
We're guaranteed European glory here in Portsmouth. The only question, who will it be? I'll be the dissenting voice in the commentary team and say it will be England.
Well, Phil, and then you're going against the book. I think Holland has to be slight favorite here, just because they've got the experience of having been there and because they've got the reigning world 9-ball champion on their side. But England has won the lag. And the break in 9-ball pool is a massive weapon. Only if
first rack
it's
Race to 10.
successful.
Winner breaks. England's breaks.
You heard the referee for the final there, Nigel Rees, instructing everyone that it's a race to 10. It's the lengthiest match in the tournament and quite obviously the most important.
Karl Boyes from just outside Blackpool in the north of England. Well, he was targeting that one. It's a good break though, in that he made the wing ball, and that one's coming out nicely to sit to the side pocket. This is a nice opening and a great start for England. Toughest shot that Darren might see in this rack is the one he's looking at right now. He's got to get from the 1 to the 2. 2's in the middle of the table to the left, but he's got to avoid all that traffic. He may end up just trying to leave Karl something long here, no choice. But you see where the 3 is, Phil, next to the 2. If he drops on the 2 nicely, all the difficult work in this opening rack will have really been completed. Yeah, he took no chances trying to get close there. Smart man.
Yes, and he knows that this shot is well within Karl's capabilities. Also, by playing it quietly like that, he kept the green 6 ball in the open as well for future use. Had so much merit, that shot.
As nervous as you know they are, every one of them looked pretty settled. Between the semi-finals and the final, England were nowhere to be found. Holland were up in the practice room. They had a bite to eat. They were just sitting by the patio, chilling out, looking very relaxed. And I couldn't find Karl or Darren anywhere. This could be a mistake. It is. Overran intended position by about a foot at least. And he didn't get behind cover. So that brings Holland to the table, not necessarily with an aggressive option. They're just pretty happy to get out of their chairs. And the man without the beard, that would be Niels Feijen. He is the reigning world 9-ball champion. Won that event just over a month ago.
Extension call.
So the Dutch have taken their extension. It's a 30-second shot clock in operation for this match and for every match in the tournament. But each team is allowed one 30-second extension per rack. It's normally taken when there's a complex decision to be made and a number of options.
Watch the cue ball. Dangerous. You know, there's no way they wanted the cue ball so close to that corner pocket. It's worked in their favor, but risky business.
As it travelled towards the pocket, I was convinced it was going to scratch, especially at that pace.
Jump shot over the 6. And now the chance falls to Holland. You know, Phil, the funny thing about any sport, if you'd offered them the final before the event started, yeah, quite possibly they might have taken it. Said, yeah, I guess so, thanks, you know, make the long trek back home. But once you get there, second place, you feel like you're going home a loser.
They say, don't they, no one remembers who finishes second. Well, there are exceptions to that, but generally speaking, they are the forgotten men.
You know, one thing about it, the experience from last year, I said at the top of the program, it puts, well, that's a bad shot from Nick Vandenberg there, and pressure. That's the only thing that you can account that miss on. Watch it again. That was pretty comfortable bridging. No excuses. But I was going to say that Holland may be under a little bit of pressure, because who'd want to finish twice 2 years in a row?
Jimmy White got to the World Snooker final 6 times, never won it. No guarantees. But that 9-ball was pretty much guaranteed. Darren Appleton ensures that England take the opening rack.
And they continue breaking. So now, just trying to build on that. They know that one was in the grasp of the Dutch. They don't want Holland coming back with that kind of opportunity again. You can't rely on a miss, not at this level.
Before the match got underway, Jim, I was looking for past meetings between Holland and England in the World Cup pool. It was hard to find, but I did stumble on this in 2011. They were due to meet, seeded to meet each other in the second round, but that never happened because Chris Melling and Darren Appleton lost in round 1 in Manila to Dennis Grabber and Erkki Erm from Estonia. How things change. Upset there, now they're in the final.
Another look at Darren Appleton's break. His eyes following all the balls around the table. And a pretty good break. Wide open look at the 3. 4 looks like it's available on the other side of the table. Such is the pressure, though, of 9-ball. You miss one shot, and you have no idea of how long you're going to be in your chairs. Nice angle on this 5. It looks like the 6 does go to the same corner. He just made the 4. So he'll try and knock it just past the 7. So important to get off to a good start.
Yes, England will be pleased with this, of course they will. But they won't be getting overexcited. They'll remember the semi-finals this afternoon when Finland broke and ran the opening 2 racks against them and led 3-1, but ran out of steam.
That's just inexcusable. He really should have taken that side pocket completely out of that shot. Well, so far, both the first two racks have been giveaways. A bad miss from Holland and a mistake there from Darren Appleton.
Welcome back to Portsmouth for the final in the World Cup of Pool. All level between England and Holland through the opening two racks, but in the third the Dutch took the lead. Having broken, they controlled the table and edged ahead. They followed that up by taking the fourth before England grabbed the fifth. In the sixth, the English broke but threw away the advantage with a scratch. The Dutch showed no mercy by clearing and moved two ahead. The English pulled one back in the seventh. The Dutch were ambitious with a 2-9 Karim. That failed and England turned the screw with some good safety play before clearing to pull a rack back. In the eighth, the Dutch struck back, reclaiming their two-rack advantage. In the ninth, that advantage was increased to make the score 6-3 before the English pulled one back. This is now the 11th.
We were going to be guaranteed a new winner in this year's World Cup of Pool. With these two finalists, neither England nor Holland have ever won the event. Both have been to the finals.
As was the case, though, when they broke off in the 8th rack. It's the same in the 11th. England coming up dry. The difference, though, between this and the 8th, back then, they left the Dutch a simple opener.
Both Karl and Darren can claim world titles on their resume. Karl Boyes won the World 8-Ball Championship back in 2010. And Dynamite Darren Appleton was the 2012 World 9-Ball Champion. And the 2008 World title in the 10-ball discipline. That's a mistake. He's left a combination. We've seen a couple unforced errors from both the England pair. That'll be the target. That pink 4. Now, I don't think the 2 passes the 7 down to the bottom left. So Nick's going to have to come with a shot here, unless he wants to try and leave the 2-7 combination. It's very close, but I don't know. I think it all depends if he could put the cue ball right behind it. But again, he can't slow roll it. He's going to have to get back the other end of the table for the 3. So.
So both teams have used their extension. So added pressure because they now have got no leeway. They have to play within that 30 seconds every single shot.
Almost perfect. Yeah, Niels is shaking his head. If he can't get the cue ball up table for the 3, safety is going to be the order of the day. Behind the 7.
Well, if he's left that on, that's a really poor shot. That was an elementary snooker, and he's made a bad job of it.
I mean, the two almost didn't get to the cushion, but he looks a little bit like a deer caught in the headlights, doesn't he? What a glaring mistake that was from Niels.
They really should win the rack now. One point, Jim, it's been a very fair crowd, hasn't it? Obviously they want the English to win, the vast majority of them, but they've given good order, not disrupted the Dutch concentration in any way.
Time will tell how big that little mistake from Niels Feijen will prove to be. Look at this. Oh, wow. He hasn't give Darren much angle. We had a little tension in the back arm of Karl Boyes there as well. He's just going to have to try and leave a long 9. What else could he do? Just roll this in and play the 9 top left.
The biggest shot of the final so far coming up.
Same guy that looked a little shaky on that 7. What a nice shot from Karl there. Never touched a cushion. He needed that. And so did England.
In the 12th, the key to the rack proved to be the 2 ball. The English appeared to play it perfectly, but the Dutch were given a chance. They blew it, and in the end, England cleared. In the 13th, the English enjoyed a golden break.
And the 9! Kicked straight into the same pocket.
But in the 14th, they couldn't repeat the trick. The safety play that followed saw the Dutch prevail and eventually clear. This is now the 15th.
Okay, rack 15, England to break 7-7.
Quite a game, 9-ball, isn't it? But Darren just saw his partner break from the other side of the table successfully. In all fairness, Phil, how could you not want to take the cue ball to the other side to break from?
Well, I said earlier on in a different context that the English were proving stubborn. That's stubborn in a different way.
Just get through to the edge of this, and now everything's under the microscope. Don't know whether this one goes by the 4 into the corner pocket. It does. A lot of blue bays between that cue ball and that one, though.
Extension called.
Using their extension very soon on this one. Wouldn't surprise me to see him defend here. He's got a wall of colors over on the other side. Try and get behind it. No, he went at it. He went at that one. And he may pay the price. But, and it's a big but as we see that missed one again. He's bumped the 3 just beside the 6, and the 3 is going to have to be developed. Yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me at all to see him play safe there, Phil, because position to the 2 was so tricky, and that's to take nothing away from the shot itself. Now the 3's in the open. Problem for Nick Vandenberg is he's going to be bridging over the 4, shooting this 2. Cueing right over top the 4.
Extension called.
Two problems here: alignment when you're jacking the cue up in the air, and also sometimes you impart unwanted side spin. Caught it too thick.
Well, that was far from easy. And like I said, at 7-7, this is when you got to check your gut at the door. A little heavy. Darren won't be happy with himself there at all. See, normally Niels would be able to play a safety here and just use the 5 and the 9 as a wall, but he doesn't want to leave a jump shot. So he's looking for a little different safety here. Flick the 2 very thin. Still using the 5 and 9, but now from distance.
Pretty much millimeter perfect. England have used their extension.
No shot. Go in hand.
Well, the snooker is missed, and so consequently the ball is in hand, and that means the Dutch have got a great chance to regain the lead.
Both extensions have been used. So you can't be thinking too long on any key shot now. Straight back for the 6, the opposite end of the table. That was a nice shot from Vandenberg. And I think Darren realizes that they're going to be looking at a 1-rack deficit.
Team Holland reached 8 racks in last year's final. Lost 10-8 in the end to the Philippines. Can they add the 3 they need? This one really should be in the books.
Yeah, and if you remember, it was Nick Vandenberg that missed a tricky shot in last year's final. You just wonder how this one's going to play out. Redemption would be a beautiful thing. Holland will break in rack number 16. It's an 8-7 lead to the Dutch.
Welcome back to Portsmouth for a fascinating final at the World Cup of Pool. It's Holland against England, and the Dutch have controlled this match right from the early stages. But the match is incredibly tight as we move into the second half. The Dutch took the 15th rack to pull 1 clear as we join the action in the 16th.
Ooh, this is a useful break. I wonder, as we see it again from Nick Vandenberg, watch the 2 and the 9 in very close proximity. There's a chance at a billiard here. And for me, you got the right guy shooting. Trying to cannon the 9 in. Gets it. And they arrive to the hill. That's how quick it can happen. 9-7. Well, it was as good as a golden break.
Yes, rack 14 was resolved in 1 shot. Rack 16 was resolved in just 2. And now the men from Holland stand on the hill.
Yeah, if England's going to win it now, Phil, they're going to have to win all remaining 3 racks. But it really can happen very quickly in 9-ball. And Niels knows, as he has a very quick review of the balls, this is the last break Holland will be taking in this year's final.
Rack 17, Holland to break, leading 9 racks to 7.
One explosive break delivered by Niels Feijen. Then both of them holding their nerve. That's what's needed now. But for England, suddenly hope springs eternal. You see that so often when a team or an individual is on the hill. They break off, and it's as though the pool gods say, no, not yet.
Kicking at this off the cushion. Fully intend to get it.
Extension called.
And it should come with shape to the 2. Beautifully played.
Vandenberg can only sit and watch, confined to his chair, hoping for a mistake. Great atmosphere here.
Don't anybody leave just yet. This one isn't over. That's all right. You can go around the angles, straight top, touch of left-hand spin. Just take the cue ball around the angles, play the 4 bottom left. It's got a long area, and you can let that back arm go a little bit.
Listen quiet, please, guys.
And he knows he's got the 5, the same end of the table. When you're under pressure, you never like to have to finesse anything. You want to be able to let that stroke out.
Just thinking, you know, Jim, down the coast from here to the west in Bournemouth, the World Cup of Snooker was won by England. I think the team was Steve Davis, Neil Folds, Jimmy White. Can this English team win the pool equivalent?
Well, they came in here in a lot of people's minds as one of the teams that could do it. Their very first match, Spain had the chance to break all the English fans' hearts. Oh, this is a great shot from Appleton here. He had to miss the 8, did that. And if not for a wayward 4 ball, how different things could have been in the final. For me, this is as good as England has looked the whole match. I like the speed that they're playing. I like the communication between the two of them.
And they like that. 9-8. Are we going to the wire?
Last time Karl Boyes broke, the crowd remembers. 9 flew into the side pocket. What he'd give for a carbon copy of that. Well, he had it moving. He's made the 1. And Darren Appleton was having a long look at this 2 to see whether or not it could be squeezed by the 4 into the corner pocket. It really is close. This is where experience in high pressure matches really kicks in. The last thing you want to do is get desperate.
And you've got to believe in yourself. You do here what you would normally do. Don't temper your shot selection to the situation. Do what you should do.
And rely on your partner. And the pressure on this 2-ball, because everything is wide open. May even be looking at the billiard here. No, the 2 went. He found a pocket, and he's found the 3. Nice and steady, Karl. You're going to take it to 1 rack to decide the title, and England would have the break.
It would be the second time in the history of the World Cup of Pool that the final has gone down to a sudden death deciding rack. 2007 in Rotterdam, Netherlands. Lee Hee-wen and Fu Jiangbo beat Mika Immonen and Marco Juva 11-10.
Mistake. That's a mistake. And it's a crushing one. He just didn't dig into the ball. You see it again. He needed to be well above that side pocket. He's going to have to spin this. Dug his partner out of the mud there.
It's going the distance.
Phil, why would we have expected this to be any different? So little to choose between these guys. And would you believe it? This year's title rests on 1 rack. 9-9.
You know, after this, they go their separate ways, the English. Darren Appleton flies to San Diego, California. Karl Boyes goes to the Dutch Open. Now, though, they must be united for 1 more rack. Can they get over the line?
They believe, and so does everyone in attendance. And Holland, as they look on, all they want is 1 chance, and it'll be Darren Appleton to break in the 19th rack.
Thank you.
They survived a final frame shootout, a final rack shootout in the opening round. Can they do so in the closing match?
Cue ball. That couldn't have gone any worse.
Start the clock.
I guarantee you Darren Appleton will remember this break for the rest of his life. How important is the World Cup? Just look at a man who's won a few world titles.
Quiet, please.
From the Dutch perspective, position from 1 to 2 could be crucial. in normal circumstances, you would fancy Holland heavily to clear here, but these are not normal circumstances.
This is what you practice your whole life for, moments like this. You dream of this when you're young, growing up and learning the game. They waited and wanted that one chance.
In the aftermath of the final last year, I remember seeing Feijen and Berg outside the York Hall at Bethnal Green. They looked drained. They were totally and utterly crestfallen. Much like those two right now.
All that work they did to get themselves back into this final will be forgotten. And the way that Niels and Nick look right now, they've got that cue ball on a string.
Extension call.
He's not made it easy. That is not where he wanted to be.
Echoes of last year when Dennis Okolio played a poor positional shot onto the 8-ball and Lee Van Corteza had to pot a really smelly one.
Vandenberg made him work. He left it awkward.
Karl Boyes will never have left a seat quicker than that.
You want pressure? You're witnessing it. He's got away with it. He's got away with a miss. The drama.
Nice and quiet, please. Thank you.
Left it to luck. And I think Lady Luck deserted Holland.
Here we go.
The biggest 9 England has hit in their lives. For the very first time, England will be crowned the World Cup of Pool champions.
The host nation, England, finally claimed their first ever title. Having made the final in 2008, they made the most of home advantage 6 years later to lift the Betway World Cup of Pool. The Dutch, for a second year running, were left to rue what might have been a dramatic last rack where an opportunity presented itself, but but the pressure told. Appleton and Boyes rose to the occasion and are now
The moment we've all been waiting for. The Betway World Cup of Pool Champions